go someplace and it's very difficult to find them, but they're basically hiding because they're getting ready to die. And so humans sometimes do the same thing. And so he went up, may have went someplace, and may have went someplace that was just simply very hard to find, and that's
Okay.
why it took so long to get him. And it is a human reaction. Again, pure speculation, because all we have is what you've read on the air. That's all we know,
Right.
so we
Exactly.
don't have any more information.
So, Hal, I want to talk more about the search as well, because the U.S. Marshal Service, they were involved in this manhunt as well. They had deputies on the scene from both Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire, working with local and federal authorities. When they were asked whether the thinking is that Card is on the move or hunkered down in the woods, a source to Fox answered, quote, "We can't pigeonhole him. We've got to just work the lead." So it seems like they did not really know where he was throughout the course of these 48 hours. And now we find out, yes, that he is dead. They know that as much. But what do you make of the search itself? I know there were hundreds of tips, hundreds of leads law enforcement got. But did you think, and I kind of in your gut or in the back of your mind, that they were ever going to take him alive? They wanted to take him alive, but they're not going to get it.
If he was alive, my sense was they would find him.
Okay.
There were so many resources there, with all the. There's a lot of things the FBI can do. Let's just put it that way. And the Marshal Service is also part of the Department of Justice. The Marshal Service works closely with the FBI on these fugitive cases. That's just one of the things that they do. And there are some rather amazing capabilities they both have, and I won't get into that. But I did believe that if he was alive, I mean, yes, he had field skills. Obviously, he had weapons knowledge, but he does not have the sort of knowledge that would allow him to evade that kind of, pardon the expression, dragnet, if you will, in terms of the resources, the capabilities that can be brought to bear trying to find him. And so, if he was alive, I thought they would find him. But I also, based on all the reports and all the discussion about mental illness and the type of mental illness that he had. And again, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I can't claim some great insight in this, but based on what I heard, it did seem very probable that that once it was done, that he might terminate his own life. And
Okay.
again, we don't know if it was a if this was,
No.
he took his own life. All
No,
we
we
know
don't
is
know
they
that.
found his remains. By the way, there's another possibility too. I've done a lot of stuff in the field, and I can tell you, if you get somebody out there and they're not that comfortable or they're overestimating, maybe they found his remains because he literally walked off a cliff in the middle of the night. That's possible too. And I can tell you, I've done some things where things will surprise you at night, and
Okay.
and so he may think he was that good, and he may have actually done something, and the reason they found his body is because he did something tactically or
I see.
whatever very wrong,
Oh, okay.
in the middle of the night or something.
Yeah, because we know he was an avid and experienced outdoorsman. I guess whatever that means, that he could go, at great length for several days there in the wild. We know this is a very, very.
Do you love to travel? Do you love design? Subscribe.
What's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? So, seems like they have found the killer, the shooter, should I say. Found him dead. So I'm just checking this out. What's going on, D-Love? What up, Jizzle? What's happening? Miss Sweets, Uncle Charles, what's going on? Thank y'all for sliding through.
One of these bases in Maine at Saco there just this year. And so we're going to continue to stay with this story. We have Hal Kempfer with us as well. Hal, I want to put up some of this video. This was from earlier today. So the search for Robert Card kind of moved to this body of water today. There were law enforcement agencies out in boats, divers, looking into this body of water today, not too far from the shooting scenes themselves. I was struck by that because I would have thought we would have seen that either the night of or the day after, but today.
Well, that could be where they found his body too.
Oh,
He could
okay.
have tried to swim and overestimated his swimming capabilities, could have got caught in current, could have got there's just a lot of things that could have gone wrong. And I want to say a couple things. First off, you know, sheriff search and rescue finds the remains of experienced outdoorsmen abilities when you're out in the field. The other thing too, and this is something in the military, but it's used in a lot of different, it's used all over the place. Is there's a saying, and certainly in the special operations world, that when you're operating the field, two is one and one is none. In other words, two people have a much higher chance of success than one person. And if you're one person out in the field, Murphy's law of accidents will be lurking over your shoulder, and you can fall down fall off a cliff, fall down a hole, get caught in a current, get snagged on a root, whatever it is. There's just lots of things
What's going on?
and
Cause
there's
oh,
nobody else to provide you aid except.
so I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this situation that they got going in Lewiston in Maine. They don't know how he died yet. They haven't provided that, Miss Sweets. We definitely are trying to figure it out. I actually got a friend that live in Maine, not actually in Lewiston, but they live in Maine, and she actually said if they find him, he's gonna be dead. It's a lot of information that's been put out. He left a note, suicide note. They said if you find my guns, then most likely I'm dead. It's a lot going on. He has some mental issues. He was in the service. He got a record of some things that prove that his mental state wasn't right. And if that's the case, to me, I was just thinking about this. He did this killing. And normally when people are going out like that, 9 times out of 10, they might kill themselves, especially in his state. But why? Why did he kill himself? Was it guilt, or he just wanted to die? But before he died, he wanted to take people out with him. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What was his purpose of killing people? Because I also read where he actually threatened some people in the military. They had him evaluated and all type of things, but they never took his guns away. And that trips me out. But we have felons who actually, go to jail for nonviolent crimes, and they can't carry guns. But this man's threatening to kill people, and obviously he got something wrong with his mental state. And that's one thing they do ask you and they check for before you buy a gun. But we'll keep listening. I ain't gonna talk your head off.
You can see this is in Lisbon. Okay, so Lisbon, not too far from Lewiston, from Bowdoin as well. It looks like some of our Fox reporters are also on the scene there. We're going to step away from that shot as well. And so this manhunt is now over. And so I'll be looking to hear so many of these particulars and details when officials step up to the podium there. But Hal, I would be remiss, talking about all of this.
What up, Carol?
Today we also learned
D
who these 18 people were. These
everybody,
victims,
salute.
People who were just enjoying a Wednesday night at a bowling alley and a bar. I want to put up their images and their faces here, and I just want to pause this because you can see just what Robert Card wrought in this community. It is a tight-knit community, even though it's Maine's second largest city, and so you can see there, I believe there were 17 males, 1 female, as part of the group of fatalities.
Andrew, they're members of the community. They were just out on a Wednesday night, doing what they probably do on many Wednesdays.
See what you put in the chat, Miss Sweets, that's the question I have. Okay, you say he didn't want to do that time. So to me, that means he thought about this. And normally when someone has mental issues and they commit a crime as such, they can get off because of the mental issues most of the time. So they actually do, a psych evaluation to see if you can be held responsible for the crimes you committed. To me, if he killed himself because he didn't want to go to jail, he thought about this shit. And if he thought about it, then I would, he should be held accountable. So I'm just wondering, is there another motive? You know what I'm saying? I know he been in the service. He could have had some issues. I know his wife left him because he was going crazy and all this type of stuff. But what is killing people going to do? Your personal life, killing innocent people, what is that going to do? It's not going to do anything. If you really dealing with life that bad, that hard, and you just don't want to be here no more, and I don't recommend nobody do it. Don't take nobody with you. Don't take nobody with you. If you want to go, you go. Don't take nobody with you, bro. What up, MC? I don't get these mass shootings, man. I just feel like it's something behind them.
Voices into the conversation here, including someone you know well, someone you've worked with before, Randy Sutton. So he's going to be joining us after the break. Just to go into and add another element, add another voice as we await this press conference that we're told is going to take place there at 10 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully law enforcement will divulge more details into how they found this suspect, Robert Card, dead. We'll see everyone in 2 minutes.
Right. Exactly. D-Love. I agree. I mean, if he planned this out, this is organized. How can you not be held responsible for something like this? How are they going to? Oh, my boy in the building. What's going on, Jizzle?
Yeah. You go ahead.
But I'm just thinking, like, to me, it doesn't make sense. And I'm not trying to throw a theory out there. I just got questions, and that's what we're waiting on right now. We're waiting on the actual press conference from law enforcement, hoping they give us some answers that make sense. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just trying to fix my screen. We all over the screen.
So do you think that his previous actions, his previous violations, do you think it constitutes taking away his First Amendment right?
There's not a law for that. No, he made threats to people in the service. He had a psych evaluation. I think at that point, once he was, I'm not sure if he was diagnosed with anything, but they say his mental stability, his mental state wasn't there. They said it was diminishing. I feel like if that was noticed, how can someone in that mind state be able to carry a gun? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Feel that.
Go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying. I mean, yeah. After you making threats and it just got out of that, because I heard, like Unc said, didn't he just get out of a mental institution? Like, I don't know how they deal with that, like with people who, people's right to carry in mental institutions. I don't know how they leverage who still has that ability when you dealing with you in a mental institution and getting out.
Well, I know one thing. When I went and got my gun license, you have to fill out this paperwork. They ask you all these questions, and that's one of them that they ask. You know what I'm saying? They ask these type of questions. They want to know if you're gonna be able to be held liable if you kill somebody intentionally. And I can't remember what the questions actually was. It was so long ago when I got my gun license, but I'm pretty sure those questions was asked for this particular reason, what we see right here. You know what I'm saying? That's just like giving a kid a gun. That's why there's laws where you can't get a gun to a certain age. You know what I'm saying? So if he was in a mental institute, which, like I said, Uncle Charles say he's seen it, I believe him. At that point, just to go back to your original question, then yes, his First Amendment right should be taken away. How you feel about it?
I agree. I agree. You know, especially when you dealing with mental health, you dealing with all type of things. You dealing with, okay, think about someone. Do you want your neighbor to be bipolar and have rights to a gun?
Hell no.
Well,
Hell no.
right. If you got a family member who has deep depression and been in mental institutions for depression, do you want them to have a gun? Even if they live by themselves and don't pose a threat to nobody else, do you want them to have a gun? Even with this depression?
Of course not. And that's just like I don't know if I want to use the right term, because I know people get the pedophiles. I'm gonna just use it. Damn it, they don't need to be around kids, right?
Right.
I mean, it's the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Let's see what they're talking about real quick. Let me see.
Yeah. I'm mute up.
All right.
Of these mass shootings.
Okay, they ain't talking about nothing yet. Just wanted to make sure we get an opportunity to hear what law enforcement says. Give us a little more details on where he was found, how he killed himself.
So yeah,
did he kill himself?
sounds like he's proficient in hiking and all of that survival military stuff. So I guess they found him in some woods or wooded out in nature or something.
I don't know exactly where it was at. And it's going back to the conversation me and you had. We know Maine is not big.
Right.
From what my friend told me, she said Lewiston is just a little bit bigger than Brunswick. And Brunswick ain't big at all. Brunswick ain't up to 17,000, 18,000 people. So it goes back to that question that you asked. Why they couldn't find him? And when I talked to a homegirl, she was like, well, the reason why they probably can't find him is because he killed himself. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find somebody that's just laying dormant in somewhere that he's hiding dead. You feel what I'm saying? So that makes sense.
Yeah, that I probably 9 out of 10. I'm thinking that's what he did. You know, that dude on the thing said something about maybe he fell off a cliff or something. I would think that, that's probably not unlikely. It might be, if he's in a wooded area or something. But
off a cliff. Yeah. Right. What a coincidence. You go kill a bunch of people, then you go fall off a cliff accidentally. Get the fuck out of here.
I think he probably did himself in, man. That's what it sounded like. Because what you gonna do now? Like, if you got all these mental health issues and stuff, you.
So to go back to my original thoughts and my question, like when it comes to him planning all this out, just like D Love said, this seemed like he organized this to you. Does that seem like something that somebody mental stability could do if it's off? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the military background, man, there's some sort of discipline that what I've seen from people who have that military background. So to a certain extent, he is functioning. Like, I don't want to go too far into just, blaming it on just mental health, because I mean, he went his whole life probably with the same shit, or we don't really know, but just speculating. I tend to lean on the side of what you're doing when you're doing it type of thing. That mental health thing and people getting off on that, it's understandable at sometimes, because you could say he had PTSD and this and that, but people know what happens when you shoot a gun.
Right.
It's very little times where you can shoot that many people and not be cognizant of what you're doing. Like,
I agree with that. Now, the next thought, and I'm gonna ask you as well, is if he was deemed whatever his mental state is called, I don't know, but if it was classified as schizophrenic, and those people should not have guns. I don't know who should be held responsible besides him, but at the same time, should he be held responsible if he's been diagnosed with this? Should the government, the system, like who should be held responsible for this, man?
Well, it's gonna be, that's the thing. It's gonna be them that slip through the cracks, and that's why I say, like, I think people know, even people with these conditions, they know how to act normal to a certain extent, to where they can keep their rights, because they know if they just act a snafu, then they all that shit gonna get taken away. So
it sounds like you. So what I'm picking up, it sounds like you saying he was pretending.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not to say he pretending, but people know how to act normal. I would think even if he's schizophrenic, he knows what's expected of him as a human being. Like,
even when he's going through an episode.
Well, see, yeah, then that's a different thing, and who knows, man? I don't know.
What's y'all thoughts in the chat, man? I ain't gonna drill Jizzle because I love looking at stuff like this. I should have told he said he was gonna come through if I went live. Let's see what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Hal Kemper and I were also talking before you jumped on, Randy, about if there's going to be some soul searching amongst, I don't know, law enforcement communities or entities there in Maine about, how they let this happen because there were so many warning signs for Robert Card just this year, mere months ago. I'm talking about his mental history, the threats he made at that base there, the Saco base.
Heard what he said now.
What happens?
How did they let this happen?
I'm not saying is anyone going to be
held
accountable, but do you think there's going to be a conversation or an investigation into how did he slip through the cracks here if he was known so well?
It's crazy he said through the cracks.
You just hit it on something that is critical, and that is there are so many gaps when it comes down to mental health and law enforcement and coordination between the two. I was listening to some other coverage earlier today and yesterday about the incredibly small number of mental health professionals in the state of Maine, and then of course you have HIPAA laws, you have the mental health system is so broken. When we as a nation decided several decades ago that it was not a crime to be mentally ill, and basically the hordes of people with severe mental illness were literally just let loose on the streets to languish and to without any care, and still there's still never been an alternative that's ever been offered. So we now have literally thousands and thousands of people that have severe mental issues wandering around the streets like zombies, and there's no mechanism in place for law enforcement to enforce anything. And you take them. Listen, as a cop for 34 years, hundreds of people that I knew were absolutely out of their minds and oftentimes violent. We would take them in to a mental health facility, a hospital, in the hopes that they would do something with him. And almost every single time, within 12 to 24 hours, the doctor signed off on him, and he was and they were gone. They were released to the streets. So this is a national issue that's really, really never been addressed, and it should be being addressed because it's leading to incidents like this.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to play the blame game at all here, but in the wake of these mass shootings, there are so many. I've covered so many. And you're talking to your friends, your family, everyday people, everyday Americans, viewers, and you hear about some of the lapses, and people get upset, people get angry because they hear about these mass shootings all the time. Just the latest one here, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention today is the 5-year anniversary of the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 11 Jewish worshipers there.
Man, you notice in a lot of these shootings, it's always the anniversary of some other shooting.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy.
So we gonna know in a couple minutes, in a little bit, because self-inflicted wounds are easily detectable from what I have seen in cases where people do shoot themselves. It's pretty easy to tell the trajectory of where the bullet came from if you shoot yourself.
Right. Okay. And I think I get where you're going with this. And if I'm correct, it wasn't a citizen. You think it was our law enforcement who did it? But if it was, why wouldn't they just say they did it?
When you say they, what you mean?
Now, you said, you was talking about how you can tell if it was a self-inflicted wound.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. And you brought that up for a reason. Maybe I should have asked you that. Why did you bring it up? Like, do you think somebody else could have killed him?
Well, I'm not really. I'm looking at. I start Googling shit. I'm on Fox News and I seen the title: Maine mass shooter suspect Robert Carr found dead with apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. So I seen that word apparent, and that's what made me say that.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
But
I mean, they have to use that term because they got to check first. But go ahead.
Right. And that's, if it's close range, it's either self-inflicted or it's some close range. Like if he did it himself, it would if it's labeled a suicide and it turns out not to be, then that would mean someone else did a close range shot. Right?
Right. Hold on, bro. Hold on. I'm reading this. What up, Nikki New? She said, and for people who say 2 shots can't be suicide, that's not true.
I would believe it could happen. I would say it could happen. I would say the probability would be probably no, but
I mean, I can't see you shooting yourself, whether it's the head or the mouth, and you don't die. You conjure up the strength and the will to pick that gun up and shoot yourself again.
yeah,
It's kind of hard for me to fathom that.
especially if it's a temple shot or something like that. I mean, maybe if you shoot in the mouth and it go through your cheek or something, and then which at that point, I don't see how you wouldn't go into shock or something.
Right. It got to be painful, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anything is possible. But that one right there, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one.
And Uncle Charles said something that whenever I brought up the initial question that I asked you about when is it, when should it constitute, or when should a mental health deficiency constitute taking away the gun? That's a whole NRA discussion right there. That whole, like what Uncle Charles said, if you challenge mental health as a factor of gun ownership, how many people would be affected or lose their right to own a gun? And that's something in America people really hold strong to that. So I think it's a tightrope that you walk on with that, because people don't like taking away folks' gun rights.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but I feel like when it comes to felons, I think the only felons should have their gun rights taken away if it had to happen is those who commit violent crimes, not somebody who sold a brick, sold a couple of birds. They wasn't beating up nobody. They were just selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? Any other non-violent crime, why would you take somebody's gun right away because they're a felon? That's I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nikki New say, I listened to a coroner describe how this could be true in certain cases. It's the neurological reflex system in the body. That's a broad response. I need a little bit more information on that one, Nikki.
I would think
Break that down.
I would think probably more on the line. When I think of something like that, my first thing is, yeah, they on PCP or something. Or, like you love said, are they out to some powwow?
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I mean, because we've seen people, traffic stops, not obeying what the officers say do, and they tase them. And normally the taser will take you down. Not one of whom on the PCP, all that wet. They seem like they got superhuman strength. But I feel like a damn gunshot is it's different. But I'm not gonna argue with anyone because, like I said, anything is possible.
Oh, CPT it's 5 minutes past, ain't it? I said they on CPT.
Well, this is how all these press conferences is.
See, I don't know. I see them say 10 o'clock. I'm like, shit, they go.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Let's see how long we got. True crime and other stuff is in the building. What's going on? How you doing? Thank you for sliding through. Let's see what they're talking about up here.
We're going to keep talking to you guys until that press conference happens. If you guys have some time, we'd love to get your reaction on the back end once the press conference ends and wraps up. But interesting, we just got this new live vantage point up. I want to put this up. This is interesting. We're being told this is outside the recycling plant where Robert Card worked. So that just came up. We wanted to take that live. Maybe that's an indication of where Robert Card's body was found. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves or speculate, but I got to wonder why we have this live picture outside a place of his former employment there. I'm not entirely sure if this is in Lewiston or Lisbon or Bowdoin there, but it's somewhere in Maine, of course. We got a live picture outside. It's a little after 10 p.m. there on a Friday night. Interesting stuff, isn't it, Hal? You first.
Well, that would make sense. It could be someplace he's associated with it. By the way, if you work at a plant like that, you may know a lot of nooks and crannies where you could hide yourself, if you will. And that's a human nature thing, that when people are injured, which can include mental illness, that sometimes they will kind of, like animals, they will crawl someplace into a space where they feel kind of closed off but safe or whatever. And he could have done something like that. That could have been, in fact, what little I know of the case is that he had some issues at work. I'd heard something that he may have been terminated. I don't know if that was true or if that was just speculation. But if that's the case, he may have chosen that. If that is where they found his body, he may have chosen that for a distinct, very, very distinct reason.
Hold on.
By the way, I just want to touch on something if I would.
Hold on. So he still maintained a job. He was working at a plant, and oh Lord. Oh Lord.
I can see that though. I mean, I can see that, man. And the crazy part, you notice every time it be a serial killer or a crazy person that done killed up some folks. Every time, man, he be a maintenance man. He be a carpenter. It always be someone who work with their hands. I be like, man.
Well, you know what? If he was diagnosed with anything, I'm pretty sure at that point he's gonna start receiving a check. And you don't supposed to continue to work, I don't believe. I mean, especially, a legit job.
Right. You got functioning addicts. You got functioning. I mean, there's people that they still functioning. Like, you got people, heroin addicts. You got cocaine addicts who are doctors. Like, I don't know. Some people, I guess, can find some sort of balance or some semblance of regular life, even with their mental health.
Yeah. Nikki News says they don't change the laws regarding mental issues because you're disarmed veterans with PTSD and law enforcement emergency responders who report and any issues. You'd have to disarm most injured veterans. You got a point. You definitely got a point there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
She said militia style survivalists. That's them doomsday people and all that, man. Them people they do not be playing, man.
Yeah. It just goes back to what we were just talking about when you broke it down. The people you feel like, would you want them to have a gun if they had this? It's like, no, I don't. I mean, I'm sorry that these people who serve the country
Sound like
with people. Go ahead.
hello?
Yeah.
Maybe it's on my end, but you sound like you borging out.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
Maybe it's my side. I don't know.
In their faces. That was in the last press conference just mere hours ago this afternoon. I want to put that up for you while we wait for these officials to step up there. And there they are. They were just enjoying a night at the bowling alley and at the bar. And they were gunned down so innocently, randomly, indiscriminately. And you can see them there, back out live there in the Lewiston City Hall at the moment. And so we were told we had the 2-minute warning. Also, I would imagine this is going to be a scene that is discussed. We just had this picture up. We were talking to Hal and Randy about it. That apparently is outside where Robert Card used to work. It's a recycling plant there in Maine. I'm not entirely sure if it's Lewiston or Lisbon or Bowdoin. Hopefully we'll get a better sense. We're going to be writing some notes about some of the updates there from the press conference. Let's take this live yet again. Remember, hundreds of law enforcement officers from local, state, and federal agencies descended on southern Maine.
All right. So I guess YJ dropped down. I see what you say, Carol. What's going on, Carol? She says you can work on disability check so many hours. It's called work ticket through disability office. And I believe that is true. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain amount of hours that you can work. And just like Nikki said, they're not going to change the laws and be specific, I assume, for, okay, you're on disability because you lost your leg. You're on disability because you lost your damn mind. Maybe I think it needs to be reconsidered, because let's think about how many cases we've seen where the police was called to the scene and it was called to the scene of a family member because of another family member maybe was dealing with an episode and that person lost their life. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like that they need to train, they need to have some type of training, should I say, for those type of situations, because they're actually killing people who really, at that point in time, having an episode, have no control of their actions, and then they lose their life. I'm pretty sure nobody would like that if that family member was yours. So when it comes to talking about changing laws for specific situations, just put yourself in the shoes of one of these victims right here that lost their life. 18 of these people. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, and I'm not attacking anyone, I'm just speaking in general. I'm pretty sure no one would like that. You know what I'm saying? I would have been out in the streets looking for his ass my goddamn self if one of my family members would have lost their life because of his mental illness. Because it's just pain and hurt inside of yourself. But at the same time, somebody need to be held accountable if he's not, because of course he's gone. But what if he was to go to trial? What if he didn't kill himself and they caught him? You think he would have did time? What you think, YJ?
Is my audio straight?
Yeah, you straight.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with my I think I would have to have more information. I think to answer that because like they was just saying, he did have a job. It wasn't like he was, you know, probably receiving a check for his condition. So, you know, he was a citizen. He was still a citizen now. You know,
Absolutely.
Victims were today, 18 of them, ranging in age from 76 years old to 14.
Yeah, most definitely. He's still a citizen. Felons are still a citizen. You
man,
know.
my thing going crazy, man. I don't know what's going up with my phone. It's going crazy.
Oh, you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Yeah, because you were going in and out, and I thought you stopped talking, but I guess you just went out. So if I talked over you, my bad, because I didn't hear anything.
I'm gonna restart my phone, see what happens.
All right. Nikki New, she states he would have been on veteran disability, which is percentage of disability base. Okay. Uncle Charles says, excuse me. Oh, talking about Dog the Bounty Hunter. That man retired, man. What's up, Tamika? If I miss your comment, man, I dropped the link in the chat. You know, the comments going by kind of fast, and I'm trying to address some of the questions, some of the statements. So if I miss it, either drop it in again or definitely feel free to come up here. I'm not ignoring anyone. So I just want to throw that out there. Uncle Charles said probably would have been found mentally ill. And I feel like he would have. And here come law enforcement. And I think those families would have been pissed. But would they had the right to be pissed because he was already diagnosed as mentally ill? But let's check out and see what they're going to say.
Thank you very much for coming. Excuse me, coming here on short notice. I stand here tonight to simply report that the Maine State Police have located the body of Robert Card in Lisbon. He is dead. I've called President Biden to inform him about this news. I've informed Senator King, Senator Collins, Representative Pingree, and Representative Golden. Commissioner Sawchuk will describe the circumstances of that discovery in some detail in a few moments. But this discovery is entirely thanks to the hundreds of local, county, state, and federal law enforcement members from all over, and people from other states as well. People who searched tirelessly to arrive at this moment. And on behalf of all Maine people, I want to express my profound gratitude for their unwavering bravery and determination and fortitude, and for the leadership of Lewiston Police Chief St. Where'd you go? Right there, that guy. Lewiston Police Chief St. Pierre. Like many people, I'm breathing a sigh of relief tonight, knowing that Robert Card is no longer a threat to anyone. I know there are some people, many people, who share that sentiment, but I also know that his death may not bring solace to many. But now is the time to heal. And with this search concluded, I know that law enforcement continues to fully investigate all the facts so we can bring what closure we can to the victims and their families. And I ask that all Maine people continue to keep those families and all of the people impacted by this tragedy in their thoughts and prayers. Lewiston is a special place. This isn't us. Lewiston is a great place. It's a close-knit community of fine people, people with a long history a history of hard work, of persistence, of faith, of opening its big heart to people everywhere. And tonight, the city of Lewiston and the state of Maine begin to move forward on what will be a long and difficult road to healing, but we will heal together. Thank you. And again, my deepest gratitude of all the people of the state of Maine, to these wonderful members of law enforcement who came from all over to help us solve this crime and put closure on this investigation. Robert Card is dead. Now I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Sawchuk.
Something wrong with that lady. Something ain't right with her.
Thank you very much, Governor. We truly do appreciate all of your support. I think it's incredibly important that the next person that speaks this evening is Lewiston's chief law enforcement champion, and that is Dave St. Pierre. Dave.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Governor, for allowing me this opportunity. Bear with me, please. I certainly did not have much time to prepare a speech here. I want to say to everybody, thank you so much. Our community can now breathe a sigh of relief, as the governor stated, and I can't echo that enough. Our work again is not done here. I was very elated tonight when I got the call from Commissioner Sawchuk advising me of the revelation of what took place and that Mr. Card is deceased and no longer a threat to our community or any other community. I just don't want to forget the families that are grieving and will continue to grieve. I don't want to forget the law enforcement officials that have worked tirelessly throughout this whole event to come to a good conclusion. Our men and women of the Lewiston Police Department, of all of our surrounding agencies. We have with us Chief McGee here from Lisbon, where Mr. Card was found. This is vitally important to all of us that this conclusion came to light tonight. We're gonna grieve for the families that lost loved ones here. We're gonna continue to work. We're gonna persevere. And we become better people for it in terms of working together as teams. We've learned a lot from some mistakes. We've won a lot of accomplishments this evening. Again, I wasn't really prepared for this on a Friday night at 10:30, but I'm very happy to be here and very happy to say the threat is over. Thank you. Sure. So our officers are being notified now as we speak. Some know obviously sooner than others. There are many that are still home. They're home with their families. And I'm quite certain at this point in time, we all know about this. This is something that all of our law enforcement personnel, ours and any surrounding community, has been paying very close attention to in awaiting positive news or good news. And this is by far the best news we've had in quite some time.
Was there any belief at this time that the suspect was dead before finding him, or did this come as a brand new revelation that you never saw coming before this?
So our reality here is that the search has been extensive. It's been thorough. It's been nonstop since the minute we started speaking with you and long before that. So all of these options are on the table, as we knew. We continue to search locations, in some cases multiple times. And we will have more information about exactly how this went down. We're going to have another briefing tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And I would please encourage you to think about next steps from your end, information that you would find important. And I will say that this is not going to be a long Q&A this evening. We wanted to make sure that we got this information out as fast as possible and as responsible as possible. And what I mean by that is that the time between the notification of the press release and now, there wasn't a lot of details there. There wasn't a lot of details there because we wanted to talk to the victims' families. We wanted to say, this is coming. It's important that they heard that information as close to first as anybody else. And you know who else we called was the family of the suspect. And they lost a loved one in this scenario. And there were many of that family that was very cooperative with us throughout. So they deserve that phone call. So we had those conversations tonight before joining you here. We also got a chance to spend some time with the brothers and sisters of law enforcement and our public safety partners that have been so incredibly helpful over the last few days, to say the least. So, one second. So right here, sir. So at 7:45 this evening is when Mr. Card was located. I won't give you an exact address. It was near the river along 𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐿 in Lisbon Falls was the actual location. Ma'am, did you have a question? Ma'am, did you have a question? That all remains to be seen, right? So our reality is that we found that body at 7:45 and it's 10:25 now. So there continues to be a lot of work that needs to be done here at the scene with the medical examiner's office. So there's a much more follow-up to what happened. But sir, did you have a question? I won't be able to answer either one of those questions at this point. Accomplices and things of that nature, we've had no indication of that since the very beginning. But as we've talked about before, these next steps are going to gives us an opportunity to do things as fast as we can, in the sense that we want to provide closure and information, but also slow things down a little bit, because we need to look at video evidence. We need to look at the various pieces of technology that are in play here, in hopes that that gives us some additional information around some of the things that you're going to be concerned about. Yes, ma'am.
This story is becoming a nightmare.
Remains to be seen. Again, we have attorney generals that we need to work with and other individuals that are in play here. I'm going to take a couple more questions again with the mindset that it's 10 o'clock tonight, and we do want to come back tomorrow morning to have this conversation right here. Yeah, sure. So I think that that was an ongoing conversation since the minute we actually put that in place. We knew that that was an important decision. Certainly from our perspective, it made complete sense to put that order in place immediately based on the violent nature and the traumatic nature of these crimes. And as things progressed over the next few days, since Wednesday to now, we've had a lot of conversations with various town and city leadership, with the governor's office, with Chief St. Pierre, with business owners, with residents. And we have to have that balancing act of pluses and minuses. And we had that initial surge with those communities, and those communities made perfect sense for an order. And as things tended to slow down, we didn't have any immediate threats. We made the decision to back off that. I would also just want to mention this because a fellow commissioner had asked me to do this, and I could walk out of here forgetting it. But Commissioner Camuso said that and passed along that actually that hunting restriction has been lifted as well. So the resident hunting opportunity for tomorrow is open across the state of Maine to include those 4 communities. There's a lot of phone calls that she would receive around that. But right here, ma'am. Yes, I can confirm that. It's an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Did you have a question, ma'am? I didn't state that we had searched that area before, so okay. As we have stated in the past, we try to use information that we can confirm one way or the other. So your reporting can say something one way or the other, and that's fine. We can talk about that again tomorrow morning, but I think we're done taking questions for this evening. Thank you very much for your patience, and we will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So, as you know, Uncle Charles, I got an uncle named John, but as Uncle Charles said, which I was thinking the same thing before you even typed it, is, you know, they didn't really provide a lot of information. It was like you said, Jizzle, especially off the initial press conference. I guess we'll have to wait till tomorrow for more details and more information, because I already knew the questions and the answers was gonna go like this. What's your question? Sorry, we can't answer that right now. I already knew it was gonna be like that, because I don't know why in this particular case, because we know what it was, we know who he is, we know what he did, killed himself. But I don't understand when it comes to talk about the integrity of the case. What are they trying to protect? What's your thoughts, Jizzle?
Yeah, I don't know. Am I immature for just always watching the lady who doing this? Does that make me an immature person that I watch the sign language person the whole time?
No,
Man, hey,
because it actually was a lady doing sign language at, I believe it was a show, a concert, and she was getting it, man.
yeah,
So
we
yeah,
get it. Respect, man. Salute to him, man. But yeah, you heard that? I said in the chat, a parent. We heard that word again. I knew somebody was gonna ask about it, and he used the same verbiage they used on their website, a parent. So well, I guess we'll see in the morning when it come down to it.
and just another thing, before we get up out of here, is just going back to the mental situation. Obviously, he wasn't born that way, so something happened later in life. Could have been the fact, or could it be an effect of the service? And, he served for the country. 9 times out of 10, it was. And for people who serve, who probably have people like that in their family, you may understand that.
Yeah.
And that goes right back to what Nikki New said earlier in the chat. For those people who end up with PTSD, do you want to take their rights away? You know what I'm saying? Because they did the country a favor and served them. Some of them went to war for the country and things like that. Is it fair that they get their guns taken away? But also, is it fair for one who suffered from PTSD, fuck around killing their next door neighbor? At the same time, we still have to protect the citizens of America who, just trying to live a normal life. And instead of living in fear because their next door neighbor comes outside with no clothes on with a shotgun shooting up in the goddamn air. And just because he's a veteran, we're going to let it slide. Not let it slide, but we're not going to take his gun. Nah, that's just something I just feel like need to be addressed. That's just my thoughts on it, though.
I feel it does make it harder when they are veterans.
Of course.
It's just gonna make the process even more red tape behind any type of change, So,
yeah,
but like you said, I think how they didn't. I think the next press conference they do, it'll be pretty much. It should be. I would think it would be all questions answered on the next press conference. I can't see why it wouldn't be like you said, what'd you say? Or what it do say the something of the case,
integrity.
Yeah, the integrity of the case. I can't see it being something where 2 weeks from now we end up finding out what it really was. Because I don't know what integrity there is left in the case, type of thing.
Exactly. This case is totally different from other cases where they're trying to, if they got to go to court for some reason, they don't want to mess up, the court case where somebody got to be found guilty by actually providing information too early or to the community where it just messed things up. So I understand that, but this is totally different. So I'm definitely expecting to hear some shit tomorrow. I want to hear the goddamn truth. I want to know what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you on that, bro.
What's up, man? I'm gonna go ahead and jump down.
All right, bro. I'm gonna get out of here too, but appreciate you, bro.
Yep.
All right, so this is another one, people. Another mass shooting in America. Another AR-15, and it's sad. It's real sad. You're in a catch-22. You're in a lose-lose situation. because every time these situations happens, gun laws come up. You know, assault rifles, assault weapons come up. And I talked with John about this. Like, as a common citizen, what is the purpose of you having such a deadly weapon at your dispense? You feel what I'm saying? I feel like those guns are for wars, but those guns seem to be getting in the hands of the wrong people. And I don't want to take away nobody's rights to bear arms, regardless what type of gun it is, but guns don't kill people. People kill people. We all heard that before. It's the truth. But I'm off tomorrow, so I may jump up here again as soon as I see the press conference. And again, I thank y'all for rocking out with me, checking out the live. My prayers go out to all the families who lost a loved one in this tragic situation. And yeah, just gotta pray for the world, man. Pray for the world. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I love y'all. Y'all be easy and stay vigilant. Y'all know how I rock.
It just sickens my mood. Now I got an attitude. You think I won't battle fool? I will slap the fuck out of you. Maybe I am a radical. I'm charged up with a matador. You don't love the kids, why do you got them for? I tell the truth, how they got out the door. These cases I can't ignore. You damn right I want your face on the floor. We lacking info pimping, I'ma need more. See, it's the truth that we want. You supposed to love your kid, the truth is you don't. Somebody bring them parents up to the front. Them kids been missing for months. Damn right I'm mad, pimp, I done had enough. Oh, my business, bitch, I don't give a fuck. I might just tear this shit up. Now we got summer, we got horse, and we got orange. Like the parents, they don't care. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? All of the YouTubers pursuing, they do more than what you doing. Now how the fuck you gonna influence? Your reputation done been ruined. Why?